What's up, YouTube? Now it's time to go over why scents get discontinued. The first thing is the test strip is usually where a lot of it starts. Like, you get scents like Dirty English, for example. A lot of people smelled this on paper and did not like what they saw. They thought, oh my god, this is a fragrance, this stuff smells smoky, and so they didn't buy it. But it actually dries down really nicely on skin. It smells much better in skin. That's what it's designed to do. It's not designed to sell immediately. The top notes aren't the best part of it. The base notes are better. But like Gucci Envy, to a lot of people, they thought this was green and very spicy, and so they didn't buy it. But, it actually dries down very nicely, and the Apopanox and the woods and the musk and the spices work so well in this one. And this actually has a very macho quality to it. It really does a great job for what it is. And the Scotted Magnetism has a great smell. Very animalic. You get there's some leather and musk, and there's different spices. A lot of different ingredients that are not in a lot of fragrances. And they kind of pushed it to a new level making this. This is very unique. But, they didn't market it well. And so it just didn't sell. But one of the big things about discontinued fragrances is, a test strip. Somebody will go in there and they'll smell, maybe Dirty English, and then they'll smell Acqua di Gio, and they'll go buy Acqua di Gio, or they'll buy Hugo Boss, or something with a better top note. But then as it dries down, if you were to buy Gucci Envy or some of the discontinued gems, dry down really nicely. And the dry down has great sillage. And the dry down does travel, whereas the other scents are fresh in the top, and they just disappear. And like in the United States of America, people want fresh fragrances. They tend to want fresh and sporty. They tend to not like as much spice. And if there is spice, it tends to be a very fresh kind of spice. And so, fragrances like Kenzo Air also just didn't have the marketing to get it out there. But there's also another type of discontinuing. And like the Thierry Mugler House, Pure Malt, actually was discontinued because it was a limited edition fragrance they only made X amount of for a whole year. And then, they're going to make new stuff. So hopefully they'll make a Pure Malt Extreme or Intense version. That would be good. But, a lot of the fragrance houses, it's all about marketing. If they're not making enough money from their sales for something, they'll cut it off. Especially like with Juicy Couture, Dirty English. They thought, we have a lot of female fragrances they're selling very well, we'll make a dirty guy scent. But this just didn't hit the sales. But the people who bought it, either, some of them hated it, but most of them really like it. And most people really enjoy this fragrance. When you smell it on skin, it's a totally different experience from what you smell on that paper. But, the top notes are a little different. And, when you first smell, definitely has some spice. It hasn't settled down yet. But, when you put it on paper, it smells kind of harsh and almost like a chemical smell. So this stuff definitely did not sell. And, a lot of the fragrances, too, that are discontinued, like a lot of times in the 80s, the Gucci's, the Burberry's had some nice scents, but there was a lot of vetiver, and it was kind of like a powerhouse smell, and they were kind of dated. And so some of those scents were just a little too much. And so as time went on, they kind of had to keep up with the trends. Like, in the 80s, you had a lot of very mossy, Chapeur kind of smells. And you had a lot more dry woods, and scents like Drac Renard were very big in that day. And, by today's standard, if you wore Drac Renard, I don't think it would have the same effect. I mean, it's kind of a heavy spice bomb. It doesn't have that kind of quality now. Today, it's definitely not a panty dropper like people said it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So, a lot of the 90 cents, too, have kind of been discontinued. Like, back then, a lot of those scents were made fresh, but they were stronger. And now they've reformulated and made it cheaper because of less sales. And so they're kind of phasing it out. Like, Drac Renard originally smelled really good in the 80s. But then, the scent's kind of outdated, and they also reformulated it into a different version. And so the different version just doesn't smell the same as the old one. Just like A lot of other fragrances have been kind of changed around, like Ungaro pour Homme 3. Great smell when it first came out. It was a gem. A lot of people loved it. But then the new fragrance isn't that different from anything else. And a lot of these fragrances have kind of fallen apart. Like the older stuff starts to get reformulated, and then the reformulated version just isn't the same as the old. And then they start to phase it out, and then basically people just quit buying it. You know, when you have a handful of people ordering online, but you don't sell it in the stores because they wouldn't have, you know, if a store carried it, they just wouldn't make enough money. So usually that's one of the issues with it. So thanks for watching.